Bronie here for another day in Bronie's world with our beautiful, amazing pharmacist Ben, all the way there in Colorado. And as you can see, he's actually in the lab today because it's Memorial Day over there in the USA. And bless his heart, even though it's a public holiday, he's come to join us and here today. Now, because it's Memorial Day in the USA and we had Anzac Day just back last month, and as most of you know, my baby sister, the youngest of the 8 of us, passed away, and we just laid her to rest 2 weeks ago. So she passed away on the 9th of May. And my sister-in-law, one of our sister-in-laws, also passed away a couple of weeks before that. So Bronie's feeling really emotionally, how do you put it, challenged? Anyway, as you can understand that it's a bit hard at times. Some days are harder than others. But also with this craziness that's been going on the last 4 years, I feel a lot of people are feeling really emotionally and mentally and spiritually attacked, and not, the Lord's there for us, but the devil's doing his best to destroy us. Ben, now we can't see your face.
Trying to adjust my camera here. I'm not doing a very good job. I'm not doing a very good job.
So back on the 9th of April, Ben had one of the very first topics. Said, I'd like to have that as a topic one day. It was about multiple dimensional emotions, spiritually, mentally, mental.
Why don't you let me do it?
So with no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Ben because he's a smart one.
Well, no, I'm no smarter than you. I just know a lot of stuff. It always makes me laugh when people tell me how smart I am, because I'm not that smart. I just know a lot of things, and that's different from being smart. I just know a lot of things. And I know a lot of things about the body. I don't know if I ever told you this, Bronie, but about, 10 or 15 years ago, I heard this voice come to me, and I'd already been doing talks and talking about health and the body and nutrition and such. And I heard this voice come to me and said, "We are the body, and you have loved us for so long. We're going to let you tell our story." And that's what I do. I tell the story of the body. I'm honored to be able to tell the story of the body. Now, you've heard of IQ, right?
Yeah.
Right. IQ stands for intellectual or intelligence quotient. Have you heard of EQ?
Yes, because you've told me about it.
Okay, so I've told you about EQ. EQ is emotional quotient. That's our emotional intelligence. You have intelligence, the ability to learn. You have emotional intelligence. But I came up with something I call PQ, which is physical intelligence. And what we suffer from in this country, and what you guys suffer from as well, is low PQ. We don't understand our bodies. And because we don't understand our bodies, we fall prey to manipulative forces, sometimes nefarious, sometimes not, sometimes innocent, that want us to do things that are not in our interest, either because they believe it's in our interest or because of, unfortunately, there are ulterior motives, usually involving money and profit.
Yes.
And unfortunately, because we have low PQ, we fall for it. They say you got to inject something into your arm, you'll be better off for it. We do it because we don't know the difference. They say you got to take this organ out of your body because it hurts and you don't need it anyway. We do it because we don't know any better. They say we've got to do this procedure to your heart and burn part of it so it's healthier, even though it doesn't make any sense. We do it. Where they say you need to take this poison so your body will feel better and you better not take that nutritional supplement because it'll interfere with the poison. We do it because we don't know any better. We suffer from PQ. Hosea 4.6, my people perish for lack of knowledge. That's what we suffer from. A lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding of how our bodies work. And I've said this since we've been talking a year and a half, for the last year or year and a half. And this is really important. We suffer from a disease that smart people suffer from.
Yes, called overthinkitis.
Overthinkitis.
You thought I'd forgotten, didn't you?
We overthink. We overthink. We make it so complicated. We believe that we're not smart enough. We believe we've got to go to an authority. We believe that somebody who has a 6 or 8 year medical degree knows more about our bodies than we do. And if they say we're sick, then we're sick, even if we don't feel sick. And if they say we're healthy, then we're healthy, even if we don't feel healthy. And I've been seeing this since I graduated pharmacy school in 1986, over and over and over and over again. We are told that we're not smart enough, either explicitly or implicitly, through direct messaging or subtle messaging, that we have to go to some authority to make us better, even though they never make us better. Even though they admit they can't make us better. We still have so little trust in our ability to understand our bodies and to handle our health challenges that we abdicate our authority. And so what I want to do is I want people to understand that we are smart enough to be able to be our own health authorities. And that's why I always explain things. I never say, just take this supplement. I'm always explaining to you the mechanisms of how the breakdown occurs so you can understand it. I don't want to be your authority. I don't want to be anybody's authority. I want you to be your own authority. The word authority comes from the word author. When somebody's your authority, they're writing your story. How many of you guys out there like that? You want somebody to write your story for you? You want somebody to write your health story for you? That's what happens when we go to a so-called health authority and they tell us that we have to have our gallbladder removed and we do it. They're writing your story. Or they tell us that you have to have your heart electrocuted and cauterized because you've got some kind of arrhythmia and we do it. They're writing your story. Or they put you on a poison drug that you're going to be on the rest of your life because they don't know what else to do. And we do it. They're writing our story. So I want us all to be our own health authorities. And that's my mission in life. And I will stand on top of every rooftop that I can find, or every platform, every stage that I can find for the rest of my life and shout, we're not sick, we're starving. We don't need to be fixed. We need to be fed. We don't need to have somebody else tell us what to do with our bodies, because understanding our bodies is as simple as understanding plumbing. The body's a hemodynamic system. It's a liquid flowing system. And when we get sick, our toilet is clogged. Our pipes are clogged. The fluid's not moving. We're stagnant. It's as simple as that. But then there's reasons why that happens. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Now, Bronie, you want to talk about, and I love this topic, I call it SMETH, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. These are the 4 dimensions of healing. And the reason I believe this is important because those of us who are in longevity, those of us who are health coaches, those of us who are selling these amazing nutritional supplements that change lives, sometimes forget that when we're sick, we're not just sick at the physical level. We're sick at the emotional level, the mental level, and the physical level, and the spiritual level. And when we're healthy, we're not just healthy at the physical level, we're healthy at the emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And health and wellness are multi-dimensional: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Now, if you're really, really sick, you're really, really nutritionally deficient, a lot of people are, you can get better by simply addressing your physical needs for nutrition, for oxygen or respiration, for movement, and for rest. I call these the 4-fold square of health, physical health. That is, nutriate, respirate, move, and rest. And you will get better. If you're really sick, you will get better there, but you won't get completely better. And we see this all the time in longevity where people will improve and then they'll stay stagnant. They'll plateau. Yeah. And this plateau is because the multiple dimensions of healing are not being addressed. Now, look, every time you think a thought, a biochemical change occurs in your body. Some of you may have heard the term epigenetics, right? Yes. Have you talked about epigenetics? Epigenetics refers to the forces that are transcendent to genetics. Genetics refers to the science of the understanding of how chemicals are made in the body via these substances called genes. Genes make proteins, and then you have the body. But epigenetics states The epigenetic theory or the epigenetic principle states that there are things that determine whether those genes will express or not. So anytime some doctor says, well, you have the gene for cancer, that doesn't mean you're going to get cancer because that gene may not express. You have 100 trillion cells in your body, and every one of those cells has all of the genes that are required for making a body. So your liver cell has the genes for making skin, has the genes for making hearts, a heart, has a gene for making eyes, has the gene for making ears, has a gene for making immune cells, has all of the genes for everything, and it's only a certain amount of genes that will express. In the case of a liver, it's only the genes for the liver. So there's other factors that will determine whether certain genes will express themselves. Is that good, Bronie? Does that make sense so far?
That
Okay.
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so epigenetics or epigenetic factors are things like essential fatty acids, for example, or magnesium or zinc, or nutrients that will determine whether a specific set of genes or a gene will express itself. And we call that epigenetics, and we talk about it a lot. But what we don't always talk about is the fact that your thoughts are epigenetic. And when you think certain thoughts, certain genes will turn on. And your emotions are epigenetic. And when you have certain emotions, certain genes will turn on. So thoughts and emotions play a major role in how the body will show up. That means if you're not thinking, if you're thinking thoughts of depression or thoughts of jealousy or thoughts of fear or thoughts of anger or thoughts of resentment or thoughts of love or thoughts of compassion or thoughts of kindness or thoughts of generosity, your body will show up in those fashions. Likewise, emotions. Every time you think a thought or have an emotion, you're generating biochemistry. You're generating hormones. You're generating epigenetic factors. And while nutrition is fundamental, you can't be maximally healthy unless you approach the mental dimension and the spirit and the physical dimension and the emotional dimension. And then there's the spiritual dimension, which trumps everything. And when I talk about spiritual dimension, I am not talking about religion.
Yeah,
there's a big difference. I'm not talking about proselytizing for any particular religious way of life. When I talk about spirituality, I'm referring to one of two ways of viewing the world. Our spirituality is associated with a fundamental way that we view the world. When they asked Albert Einstein, they said, Albert Einstein, Professor Einstein, you're the smartest man in the world. If you could talk to God, what would you ask God? And Albert Einstein said, if I could talk to God, I would ask him, the one question I would ask him is the universe a friendly place? This is Albert Einstein. Says, is the universe a friendly place? And the reason this is important is because even if we're not expressing it literally, we are all asking that ourselves, or we've answered it ourselves. Either we're asking it or we've answered it. We're not asking it, we've answered it. We've said either the universe is a friendly place or the universe is not a friendly place. And what determines whether the universe or anything is a friendly place or a not friendly place is how connected we are to it. See, fear is what happens when you don't think the universe is a friendly place. Fear is what happens when you don't think life is a friendly place. Fear is what happens when you don't think your relationships are friendly. Fear occurs when we're in the unknown. You know, there's a lot of fears. There's a fear of crowds. There's a fear of heights. There's a fear of spiders. There's a fear of death. There's a fear of public speaking. There are thousands of fears. They call them phobias, fears of spiders, fears of snakes. There's a fear of peanut butter getting stuck in the roof of your mouth. There's a fear, literally, that's a fear. That's literally a phobia. You can look it up.
Especially for those who do public speaking.
Yes, that's right. And you know what? Public speaking happens to be the #1 fear that people have, even more than the fear of death. People would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy, because we don't want to, we're afraid to stand up in front of people. But what is what is the one fear that's underneath everything? The fear of death, the fear of crowds, the fear of heights, the fear of public speaking, whatever your fear is. What's the one fear that all the fears have in common? The fear of the unknown. That's the only fear, really, and everything else is a derivative of that. We fear public speaking because we don't know what's going to happen. We fear death because we don't know what's going to happen. We fear crowds because we don't know what's going to happen. We fear heights because we don't know what's going to happen. The only fear is the fear of the unknown. So why does this have to do with health? Why does this have to do with the 4 dimensions of healing, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical? Well, it turns out that the body's biochemistry, which is associated with healing and health and wellness, or the lack thereof, is determined via the nervous system. The nervous system is the part of the body that transduces the outside world into the inside world via the senses. The sight, taste, touch, hearing, and smell, the 5 senses. The 5 senses are the part of the nervous system that is like we're inside, and that's like our periscope to the outside world. So we see things, we hear things, we taste things, we touch things, we smell things, and those get converted into biochemistry in the body. The biochemistry of health, the biochemistry of healing, the biochemistry of growth and repair, or the biochemistry of sickness, the biochemistry of deterioration and degeneration, the biochemistry of misery, of pain, of discomfort. The biochemistry of the body will either be the biochemistry of health or the biochemistry of unhealth, depending on our interpretation of the signals that are coming in from the outside. And as it turns out, you have 2 nervous systems depending on the type of signal, on the type of interpretation of the signals. We have a nervous system that is associated with fear, and we have a nervous system that's associated with love. And these are the 2 major, the only 2 feelings or emotions that we have. Everything else is a derivative of fear and love. Sadness is a derivative of fear. Anger is a derivative of fear. Compassion is a derivative of love. Forgiveness is a derivative of love. So all of our emotions, which control our biochemistry, are derivatives of these 2 basic fundamental emotions of love and fear, and they're reflected in the nervous system. The nervous system of fear is called the sympathetic nervous system. The nervous system of love is the parasympathetic nervous system. The nervous system of fear is called the fight or flight nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight nervous system. The nervous system of love is the parasympathetic nervous system, is the rest and digest nervous system. When we are sick with a chronic illness, an illness that is degenerative rather than regenerative, an illness where the body just gets worse and worse and worse over time, we call this chronic degenerative disease. When we're sick with a chronic degenerative disease, whether it's cancer or heart disease or psoriasis or multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's or dementia or whatever, most of our health challenges, most of the things that most of the complaints that you guys have and that we answer questions on every 2 weeks are chronic degenerative issues. Chronic degenerative diseases, should come as no surprise, are linked to an overactive sympathetic nervous system, a chronically active sympathetic nervous system, a chronically active fear response. We always talk on these chats that we have every 2 weeks. We always talk about the fundamental breakdown in the body that's associated with chronic degenerative disease. And that chronic degenerative disease commonality, the thing that all chronic degenerative disease have in common, is inflammation.
Yeah.
Inflammation is behind everything. There is no such thing as a chronic degenerative disease without chronic inflammation. Inflammation is a protective response. Inflammation is the way the body protects itself. When we're sick and we're inflamed, we're in a defensive posture. We're in a protective posture. We are in fear mode. We're protecting. Protection is associated with separation. You don't have to protect yourself from your family. You have to protect yourself from strangers. You don't have to protect yourself from what you know. You have to protect yourself from what's unknown. We protect ourselves as part of the unknown. And this sense of separation is what leads to the fear response, because the sense of separation is where the unknown comes from. The unknown, which leads to separation, is what triggers the fear response, whether it's mentally and emotionally, whether it's spiritually, or whether it's physiologically. When you're inflaming, the body's protecting itself from a molecule that's not familiar to it, from a molecule that it perceives as being the enemy. When you're protecting yourself mentally and emotionally, you're protecting yourself from something that's coming into your life that you don't know what's going to happen. When we protect ourselves spiritually, it's because from a spiritual perspective, we're not comfortable and we're not safe in the world. And it's no accident that in Latin, the word separation is sin. To be born into sin means to be born into separation. It means to be born in fear. And this happens as soon as we come out of the womb. Think about it. You're in the womb. Everything's perfect. You're connected. You're one. You're unified with your source of nourishment, with your source of oxygen, with your source of love, with your source. You're connected. And all of a sudden, you come out, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm disconnected. I'm alone. Think of what this does to a child, to an infant when it's born. This is what it means to be born into sin, to be born into separation. And from that point forward, we spend our entire life trying to get back to that unity, to that connection. And when it tells us in the Bible that you have to be saved, what it really means is you have to be safe. You have to have a sense of safety, that you are connected, that you are one with the universe, that you are one with God. This is what it means to be safe, and this is why you have to be safe, and this is why you have to be saved in order to have eternal life. When you feel safe, everything's beautiful, everything's perfect. This is what Christianity really is about. It's about being safe. This is what true religion is about. It's about being safe. True religion is about feeling connected, that there is no separation. And guess what? The sense of separation is an illusion. Where is there separation? Anywhere. Just because there's a space between me and you doesn't mean there's nothing between us. We have this illusion that we're separated. Quantum physics tells us everything is one, everything is unified. They call it unified field theory. You're occurring, I'm watching you in my computer, but you're occurring in my brain right here. Where are you? You're right here. You're between my ears. There's no separation anywhere. It's an illusion. It's a myth, and it costs us so much. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. It tells us right in the word, it's an illusion, it's not real. But to us, from a biochemical standpoint, when we believe it, it's real. And this is why you have this dichotomy in spirituality you have this dichotomy in mental and emotion. You have this dichotomy in physiology of the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic, of love versus fear, of connection versus disconnection. And what we want to understand is that we are safe. We always, in every moment, people, in every single moment, you have enough air. Your biochemistry is working perfectly. Even if you're dying in bed with cancer, stage 4 cancer, and you have 5 minutes to live, there's way more going right in your body than going wrong. At every given moment, we are safe. It's only when we imagine a future which doesn't exist, or we think about a past which doesn't exist, that's the only time that we are not, we feel like we're not safe. We're still safe then, but we're in this illusion of the past or in the future, because right now we are safe. Right now, we have everything that we need in this moment. What happens when we are in a defensive posture from a physiologic standpoint, all of our biochemical reactions are shunted into biochemical processes that are associated with getting away. So that when we are sympathetically activated, instead of the energy or the blood or the nutrients or the electrical processes being directed towards the immune system is suppressed. Instead of the biochemistry being sent to the front of our brain where we make good decisions, the biochemistry goes to the back of the brain where our fear response is activated, and they call it the reptilian brain for that reason. When we're in fear mode, when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, our blood pressure goes up. When our sympathetic fear response is activated, our digestive system is suppressed. When our fear response is activated, when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, the heart beats faster. The breath becomes more shallow. We're not fertile under control of the sympathetic nervous system. We can't perform sexually when we're under sympathetic nervous system activation. We don't heal. We don't recover. We don't build muscle. We age more faster. We don't build bone. All of the lousy stuff that we hate about life comes from an overactive fear response as manifested by an overactive sympathetic nervous system. On the other hand, all the good stuff in life comes from the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system. You're not going to be able to sleep when you have sympathetic nervous system activation, and this is why insomnia is such a big problem, but you sleep really well under activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. You're not going to heal when you have the sympathetic nervous system overriding your neurology, but you heal rapidly under parasympathetic nervous system activation. You're not going to digest your food effectively, and you're not going to process food effectively when the sympathetic nervous system is activated. The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest nervous system. You're going to be scared and worried because the blood will be going to your amygdala and the back of the brain when you have the sympathetic nervous system response. But when you have the parasympathetic nervous system activated, the blood goes to the front of your brain where you're creative and you make good decisions. You're fertile when you have the parasympathetic nervous system activated. You have good sexuality when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated. You can fight viruses and fight diseases and fight bacteria when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated. All the good stuff in life is regulated by the safety nervous system, by the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you want to feel good about being alive, if you want to reverse chronic degenerative disease, if you want to slow down the aging process, if you want your heart and your liver and your digestive system and your thyroid to function more effectively, if you want to be fertile and have a good sex life, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Do everything you could do to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And there's tons of ways to do that.
I was going to ask you, okay, so
tons of ways to do that. One of the best things, by the way, when you're scared, you will automatically, if you're scared enough, you will automatically do something that will activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, the last time most of us were safe completely safe was when we were in the womb. So if you get into a pinch, if you get into a real bind, if something horrible happens, you know what you're going to do? You will go into a fetal position. Right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that, right? If you are in enough misery, your body will automatically put you in a fetal position. If you're in enough pain, if you're in enough misery, God forbid something horrible happens to you, boom, your body will tell you, let's get safe again. Because in a fetal position, that was the last time you were safe. And if you do it right now, you'll notice that you will relax when you're in a fetal position. It relaxes you because the body remembers that was the last time it was safe. Well, there's another way that you can mimic the environment of the womb to activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
And that's warm water. When you take a warm bath, your body goes back to the womb. Your body thinks it's in the womb. And women know this intuitively, not men. Women are much more in touch with their bodies than men, because you're reminded about your body at least once a month and then multiple times during your lifetime when you have a baby. So women know their bodies better than men know their bodies, or women are more in touch with their bodies than men. And so women know if they had a hard day or they're depressed or for whatever reason they have some kind of emotional issue, what do? You go take a bath. Do you ever hear a man say that? Oh, I had a hard day, honey. I'm going to go take a bath. No.
Actually,
women say that.
Does.
Maybe your husband does it, but that's rare. Mostly it's a woman thing. When you go into a bath, your body remembers the last time it was safe and your blood pressure will drop. And for those of you on high blood pressure medicine, which is a classic sign, high blood pressure hypertension is a classic sign of a sympathetic nervous system in overdrive. If you're on an antihypertensive medicine, take your blood pressure and then go sit in a bath. And then come out and take your blood pressure again. I guarantee you it will drop like a stone because your body will be completely relaxed. For those of you guys who have or know somebody, or if anybody out there has Parkinson's disease, which is a classic sign of an overactive sympathetic nervous system, nobody has tremors in the bath because everything's relaxed. So getting yourself in the bathtub or even a shower. Have you ever noticed that in the shower,
I was going to say that I even find that in the shower, if the temperature's at a nice warm temperature.
Nice warm temperature. It's like the womb. You're thinking of the womb. Your body remembers the womb.
And you don't want to get out.
You don't want to get out. Of course not. Of course not. They'll be banging on the door. And you're like, no, I ain't getting out of here because you're safe. Imagine to the body, it's in this freak out mode. It's in the sympathetic nervous system activation mode. And now you're in the shower. It's like, oh, I'm not getting out of here. You can bang on that door all you want. I'm not getting out, right?
My husband comes and unlocks the door.
Well, yeah. Okay, well, you do that if you're married. But here, check this out. Have you ever noticed you have great ideas in the shower?
Yes. All my best ideas happen in the shower. Of course.
Why do you think that is? Because the blood is going from the back of the brain where you're scared to the front of your brain where you have creative and you have wonderful ideas. Why do people sing in the shower? You're happy. Woo, I'm happy. For the first time all day. People sing, they can't wait. They love the shower so much. Even just throwing warm water on your face will activate the parasympathetic nervous system. In fact, we used to do this thing when I was a kid. I went to camp, when I went to summer camp when I was a kid, we would do this mean thing to kids, to other kids. We would, when they were sleeping, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but we did it. I have to own up to it. We would take their hand and put it in warm water. Oh, and guess what would happen? Yes, exactly. Everything would relax, right?
Including the bladder.
Including the bladder. Okay, so that wasn't that nice. I'm only admitting that for educational purposes here. Yeah. Everything relaxes when you're in warm water because it's the womb. The body says, I'm safe again. Another amazingly important way to tell the body it's safe is to breathe slowly. When you breathe slowly, your body says we're safe. Because when you breathe, the body knows that if you're breathing slowly, everything has to be good, because if you were running, you wouldn't be breathing slowly. So to the body, breathing slowly signals safety. Anything you could do in your life that will tell the body it's safe will activate the parasympathetic nervous system and will improve your health. And this is why the 4 dimensions of healing are so darn important. Because if you don't feel like you're safe, if your body's biochemistry is reflective of fear and the lack of safety, the Healthy Start Pack is not going to be as effective. And your food choices are not going to be as effective. And the things that you're doing from a physical perspective that are you're supposed to be doing, they're not going to have the same effect as if you were completely safe. So understanding that we are safe, understanding that we're saved, understanding that we're connected, understanding that there is no separation, understanding that all our needs are met in the moment. They may not be met in the future. You may think in the future something may happen, or you may regret something from the past, but in the moment, this moment now, what is wrong this moment, this split second, this nanosecond? And there's a term we have in our country, and probably in your country too, that everybody's talking about all the time. It's called mindfulness. Have you heard of this term, mindfulness? They talk about it in Australia. They talk about it a lot here in this country. What does mindfulness mean? It means be mindful of this nanosecond. Be as granular as you can be in this split second. Be mindful of everything that's happening. And when you are mindful of everything that is happening, you will activate the safety response. In fact, if you just think about your hand right now, if you just focus on your hand, your body will relax. If you can't sleep tonight, focus on every single part of your body, working with your toes all the way up to the top of your head. Focus on every single part of your body. And the next thing you know, it'll be morning.
Yes, you did that to me last time, I think it was.
I did it to you last time. I did it to you last time. When we focus on a single part of the body, when we focus on each little molecule in the body, our body goes into relaxation mode. Another wonderful way to activate the relaxation response is to be grateful, is to be thankful. One of the most important manifestations of the parasympathetic nervous system is good digestion. This is why before you eat a meal, you say grace.
Yes.
You be grateful for the food. That activates the digestive response. That activates digestive juices. That starts the digestive process moving. The worst thing we can do is eat food while we're in a meeting, or having a fight with our spouse, or listening to the news, or doing something stressful. This is when most of us do our meals, is while we're watching the news, or while we're in a business meeting. When you eat, you want to be thankful for your food. You say grace. That's gratitude. Gratitude activates the parasympathetic nervous system. You can use that for sleep as well. Tonight, if you can't sleep, run down a list of all of the things you're grateful for. Your house, your blanket, your dog, your husband, your kids, your job, the money you have in the bank, your health, whatever it is. Run down the list and then start again and run down the list and then start again and run down the list. Next thing you know, it'll be morning and you'll be asleep. You'll have relaxed the whole body. When you have insomnia and you can't sleep, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about kittens and warm, fuzzy puppies rolling around? No, you're thinking about your dysfunctional relationship and your crappy job and the new world order. For all the troubles, exactly. You've activated the sympathetic nervous system. The next time, by the way, remember the parasympathetic nervous system is important for the digestive tract. One of the classic manifestations of sympathetic overdrive is constipation. Relaxation opens up the bowels. When we're breathing, there's inhaling and there's exhaling. The parasympathetic response, the relaxation response, is associated with the out breath. The in breath is the sympathetic response. So when somebody's scared, they go, oh, take in breath. And then they realize it's all a big joke. They go, oh. So
I
just
looked at
going
it like that.
just going like this, just going like this, ah, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. The next time you're sitting on the toilet and you're trying to have a bowel movement, instead of going, go, ah.
Okay.
Exactly. What does
All of you
everybody
heard
do?
that?
What does everybody do when they're trying to have a bowel movement? That activates the sympathetic nervous system. That's the worst thing you could do. What you want to do is you want to go, ah. Do you know that there are
It's
people?
like giving birth, you know.
That's the same thing, like giving birth. When you give birth, you want to go, ah. That's why they give birth in water. Have you heard about this? They give birth
Yes.
in bathtubs. So everything's opened up. Do you know there are people who actually die trying to have a bowel movement? Literally, this is no joke. They will actually drop dead of a heart attack on the toilet because they're activating the sympathetic nervous system. They go like that, and they'll have a heart attack.
When I was nursing, I had a patient who actually died on the toilet. Maybe that's why.
Yes, it's not uncommon. Elvis Presley died on the toilet. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon because you're activating the sympathetic nervous system. This, if you can understand what we just talked about for the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you can understand why it's so important to be healthy on all the levels. And by the way, when you eat well, when you are nutriating your body is safe. Your body will manifest the parasympathetic response. Starvation activates the sympathetic response, the fight or flight response. And this is why we overeat. We overeat because we're activated. It's the only time, for a lot of people, eating is the only time they're relaxed. This is why, now notice this, the next time, I probably told you this before, but I'll say this again. The next time you have your Ben & Jerry's, you guys have Ben & Jerry's ice cream over there?
Well, not where I live, but they do in Melbourne, I know.
What's the ice cream, the famous ice cream in Australia or New Zealand?
It used to be called Peters. It's called Paul's now. But
okay, so you take your Peters ice cream, right? You take your spoon, you put it in the spoon. As you're putting it in the spoon, and as you're raising that spoon to your mouth, notice everything is right in the world. You don't have a care in the world. The world is perfect. It's beautiful. As that spoon is coming to your mouth, your husband or your wife, forget about it. Your job, forget about it. Taxes, the government, the new world or whatever. As that spoon is rising to your mouth, everything's perfect. And then you eat your Ben & Jerry's, your Peters or whatever it is. And then there's your husband again. Oh my God, where did he come from? There's your wife again, whatever. And so, of course, you go back into the Ben & Jerry's or the Peters and you eat it. And then, all is right in the world for a couple seconds, and then it's gone, and there's the problems again. So you go back. There are people who will actually rip open the carton and lick it. When they run out of the ice cream, they'll lick the side, they'll tear it apart because they need the peace. That's you, Bronie, right? Because they need the peace.
I leave nothing behind.
They need the peace. They need the peace. And I'm not here to proselytize, but I'm telling you, this is what religion should be. Do you know what the word religion means? It means re-lig, to reconnect. Religion is when you are not separate any longer. You're connected. True religion is true connection. You're out of sin. You're out of separation. You're reconnected to God, to spirit, to the universe, whatever you want to call it, to nature. This is true religion, to feel connected, because when we're connected, we're safe. When we're connected, when we feel connected, this is why everybody wants to get married. This is why people want to be in relationships. Do you know loneliness in the United States? I imagine it's the same in your problem. It's an epidemic. Loneliness is now being recognized as a serious health issue. Why is loneliness such a problem? Because you're alone, you're separated. You're disconnected from everybody. This is why loneliness is such a serious health crisis. Well, you know what?
We need love.
This is why we need love. And this is why we're searching everywhere for love. This is why there's all these dating sites and all these shows about love and shows about dating. Everybody wants to be connected because intuitively we understand that we're not healthy when we're not together, when we're not one, when we're separated. We're in sin when we're separated. We're with God or nature, whatever you want to call it, when we're connected. And this is why I like talking about this, the 4 dimensions of healing. I love talking about nutrition. I love biochemistry. It's critically important that you move your body, that you rest your body, that you don't eat too much and you eat correctly and you nutriate. But the other dimensions will keep you from being maximally healthy, even if you are doing the Healthy Start Pack. And if you're not doing the Healthy Start Pack and you're not taking care of yourself physically, the other dimensions of health will destroy you. Or not taking advantage, I should say, of the other dimensions of health will destroy you. Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, SMETH. We are connected. Think good thoughts, feel good emotions, and make sure you're using the 4-fold square of health. Nutriate, respirate, move, and rest.
Wow. That was absolutely amazing.
There you go.
And
my secret life, I want to be a preacher. That's my secret mission.
Well, you know, Ben, I think that you do that every time you speak with us anyway, because
I do.
We all feel that, because like you said, it's all connected.
It's all connected. Absolutely. Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. The 4 dimensions of healing, they're all connected. So now, if you guys got questions, let me address your questions. And I even though we don't talk about the spiritual aspect and the mental aspect and the emotional aspect, and I'm not really going to talk about it here, it's not really my business to interfere with your lives from that perspective, but I just want you to recognize that those dimensions are at play. In this conversation that we're going to have now, when I answer questions, I'm just going to talk about nutrition and biochemistry and from the physical dimension of health, because that's what I focus on mostly.
Yeah, well, my husband's in the industry of mental. He doesn't like to call it mental health. He's actually a counsellor. So, yes.
It's excellent, okay. Ben. Thanks for that. I'd have to say that was very inspiring. It's certainly
thank you, Kevin.
More inspiring talks.
Thank you.
That you define the fact that it's not religion. Spiritual isn't religion.
It's not religion.
It's about getting into yourself. You know.
Did you get? Kevin, I like the hair, man. That guy's
isn't it?
The wind's blowing out here.
That guy's got the best hair. Holy cow, Kevin!
And do you like his new office?
Is that your new office?
Well, here's my new office here. It's just arrived on Friday.
What do you mean just arrived? What are you talking about? Is it?
It's a portable house.
What is it?
Portable.
It's a portable home. Very nice. Very nice.
So I've just set it all up. This is my backdrop normally.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so let's answer some questions here.
Okay, well, Michelle, can you see the chat at all?
Let me see here. How do I don't know how to get to the chat. No.
Okay.
More. Let me see.
Hang on.
No, here. I see the chat. I do see the chat here.
Okay.
This is my original question. Would you be able to ask Ben a little bit about information oncologists gave us? Okay, so let me talk about the oncologist. The doctor told us statistics of prostate cancer in men are above 50%. When asked why she thought there's such a high rate, she said cancer is age-related. As we age, the continuous cell replacement. My question is, why are we seeing more and more? Does it mean their body? Yeah. Okay, so the question is, why is there more and more cancer? There's more and more cancer because our environment is completely trashed. The food we eat is completely trashed. And then you throw in the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, which suppresses the immune system. Cancer is the classic manifestation of lack of safety, a classic manifestation of the fear response. A cancer cell is a cell that is, first of all, when we think of cancer, I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. When we think of cancer, we want to think of cells, not the prostate, but prostate cells. A cancer cell is a cell that doesn't know what else to do. A cancer cell is a cell that has been starved, has been suffocated, and has been toxified for so long that it now has only one way of going, one way of dealing. Now, under ordinary healthy circumstances, I should tell you, when a cell is starved and suffocated and toxic, it'll die. A cancer cell is a cell that has escaped the death process, and instead of dying, it is reverting back in time to an ancient way of an ancient way of existing. See, there's two kinds of cells. You have bacterial cells. They're called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive. And then you have animal cells and plant cells. which are called eukaryotes. Eukaryote means a good cell or an advanced cell. Karyote is the Latin term for cell. EU means good or advanced. Pro means primitive. So prokaryotes are primitive cells. Eukaryotes are advanced cells, human cells or plant cells. A eukaryote cell is very advanced, relatively speaking. It's complex. It has lots of machinery, lots of working parts, tremendous organization inside of it, separate compartments inside of it. Very, very intelligent compared to a prokaryote, which is a primitive cell. It doesn't handle energy the same way. It doesn't function the same way. It doesn't contribute to organs. It just divides and divides and divides like a bacteria. A cancer cell is a eukaryote, advanced cell that has gone backwards in time and become a prokaryote. It has gone backwards to where now it just divides and divides. It's almost like a eukaryote will give up of itself. A eukaryote gives up its independence so that it can become a liver, or so that it can become a bone, or so that it can become a heart or a skin or a spleen or an intestine or an immune cell or anything else, an eye cell, a hair cell, whatever. You have 200 different cells in the body, and each one of those cells is an advanced eukaryote cell that gave up some of its independence. It gave up some of its ability to survive on its own so that it can become a liver, or it can become a heart, or it can become a spleen. Does this make sense? It's giving up its own independence so it can become part of the team. But a cancer cell is a cell that's like, screw you. You haven't fed me. You haven't breathed me. You're making me swim in this ocean of toxicity. I'm not going to become a liver. I'm just going to divide on my own. I'm not going to be a prostate. I'm just going to divide on my own. I'm not going to become a kidney or a bone or a skin. I'm just going to divide on my own. A cancer cell is a cell that has gone backwards in time. It's no longer contributing to the organism as a whole, and it's only going to form a film. This is what prokaryotes do. They form films. So the reason why cancer is going through the roof, even though we have a war on cancer and everybody knows about cancer, is because we're punishing ourselves. We're punishing ourselves with the food we eat, with the air we breathe, with the water we drink, with the emotions we have, with the thoughts we think, and most importantly, with this sense of disconnection, which engenders fear. And ironically, having cancer causes more fear. Having a disease causes more fear, and it ends up with a vicious downward spiral. So the best thing you could do if you've been diagnosed with a horrible disease, or if you've had dis-ease, by the way, is right in the word, dis-ease, you're out of ease. If you've been diagnosed with cancer or horrible disease, is relax. Now that's easier said than done, and I don't have cancer, so I'm not trying to, condescend to anybody or patronize to anybody, but that from a biochemical standpoint is the most important thing you could do. From the most important thing I tell my cancer patients is worry about today. Feel good today. Have energy today. Have joy today. There's a really cool book, if anybody wants to read about these kinds of ideas, called Enjoy Every Sandwich, which is about enjoying every moment today. Enjoying everything you're doing today, the joy of movement. You know what? If you have a hard time feeling the simple joys that you have in your life, pretend that you don't have the joys today. Pretend that you're paralyzed. Pretend that you have cancer. Pretend that you're broke. Pretend that somebody died. And then when you remember that they didn't, or remember you have money in the bank, or remember you're healthy, you will have so much joy. You'll have so much ecstasy that you don't have the disease. That's how we want to operate in life. And if you've been diagnosed with a horrible disease like cancer, your job is to feel good today. And if you're trying to help somebody who has cancer, your job is to help them feel good today, to have more energy today, to be out of pain today. It's about now, not about the future, because at the end of the day, nobody knows about the future, whether you have cancer or whether you're perfectly healthy. Today is what we want to focus on, is what we have now, what we have today. Everybody I'm talking to here, no matter how sick you are, you have a house. You have comfortable chairs. You have a bed. You have clothes. You have so many things. And this is not about making anybody wrong here. This is about seeing all the wonderful things everybody has in their life. As I said, even if you're dying of cancer, stage 4 cancer, more things are going right in your life than wrong, no matter how bad it may seem to be. And so focusing on what we have today, for cancer, yes, it's obviously we're going to have more cancer because look at our environment. Look at the food we eat. Look at the water we drink. Look at by the way, the things we put into our brain are like brain food.
Yeah.
If we're watching the news, that's like eating hot dogs.
Yeah, we turn that off.
That's junk food. That's poison food. Information that we put in our brain is a type of food. And the kind of information we put in our brain will have the same effect for better or worse, like the kind of food we eat. You want to eat nutritious food in your mouth, and you want to eat nutritious information in your brain. Read the Bible, read self-help books, read biographies of people who have succeeded. If you want to watch the news, if you're one of those people who watch the news, turn the news off and read something inspiring or watch something inspiring. Go on YouTube and look for something inspiring. You know, what is inspiring?
Come follow me on YouTube and you will see all these.
Come follow Bronie. Listen to us. Okay, so that's
Michelle had an addition to that, though, to that question that she'd sent me previously.
Okay, I don't see that.
No, you can't see that there, but because she sent it to me and I said, oh, I don't know what the original question was. And she said, she has an additional thing to add to that question, and she can unmute if she wants. Does you as in you, Ben, know of any natural way of blocking testosterone, since the doctors are saying
blocking testosterone, right? Do you mean testosterone?
Yes.
Yes.
The doctors are saying that it fuels prostate cancer.
Yes. Well, not necessarily. It's actually estrogen that fuels prostate cancer. So your doctors are a little behind the times. That's old information. It's actually female hormone, estrogen, that fuels prostate cancer. In any case, testosterone, a couple things you want to do with testosterone. The most important thing you want to do with testosterone is you want to use zinc and other nutrients that are DHT inhibitors. GLA, which is in the ultimate EFA plus, essential fatty acids in general, zinc, saw palmetto, the ProstFX, basically, omega-3 fats. That contains nutrients that inhibit super testosterone. Super testosterone is called DHT. Testosterone gets converted into super testosterone. So DHT inhibitors are the strategy for reducing the testosteronic effects, whether they're in the prostate or for male pattern baldness or for acne, reducing the conversion of zinc or of testosterone to DHT is the strategy she's talking about. Those are not really testosterone blockers. They're more like DHT inhibitors, dihydrotestosterone inhibitors. And that's the main strategy. Zinc is the most important one, but everything in the ProstFX has DHT inhibiting effects.
Does that help, Michelle?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. All right.
Now I want to go up to Marie. She has a friend with her today, and her friend's name, Marie, unmute yourself, please. Her friend is, her name is Hero.
Hero?
Yes.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Hero. Are you Maori?
I'm Maori.
Are you Maori? Maori, okay.
Yes, I'm Maori.
I visited the Maori. What do you call the Maori? I went to the Maori country when I was in New Zealand. It was very beautiful. Yeah. Kevin took me. So
awesome.
Nice to see you. How can I help you, Marie or Hero?
Okay, my husband's is just in the starting point of dementia.
Okay.
And
you want to help him with dementia? Let me give you some ideas for dementia. All right, first of all, the most important thing for dementia is to keep his blood sugar stable. That's the most important thing. Dementia is a type of diabetes. It's a type of blood sugar problem. So you want to make sure that his blood sugar is stable. That's the most important thing for number one. Number two, making sure that he has brain nutrients, especially fats. And this would be the ultimate EFA. Also vitamin E. Also the ultimate niacin. Niacin deficiency is not only important for will not only cause blood sugar problems, it will also cause mental health problems. My dad had dementia. And when I would visit him in the nursing home, I don't know if they do the same. They probably do the same thing in your country. The food they feed you and feed people in nursing homes is horrific. Very sugary, very refined flours and breads and cakes, and hospitals too. So I would sneak my dad Beyond Tangy Tangerine in the hospital, in the nursing home. And as he was drinking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, he would get clearer just by drinking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So get him on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, have him doing it all day long. Stabilize his blood sugar. And if he has just the beginnings of dementia, have him do puzzles. Have him do things that will activate his brain. Is he a musician? Does he play music?
He sings. Yeah. He loves singing.
Have him sing. Have him sing to activate his brain. Doing things that activate the brain is very important. If you can have him memorize things, if he's depending on how far along he is, if he's not that far along, have him memorize numbers, have him memorize years, history, work on the brain, try to get the brain activated, and that will help. Niacin, the ultimate niacin will help, the ultimate EFAs will help, and the healthy blood sugar pack.
Thank you.
Okay.
And selenium. With selenium.
Selenium. Yeah.
That's part of the healthy blood sugar pack. Selenium is in the healthy blood sugar pack.
And what about synaptive?
Synaptive. Good.
Oh yes, synaptive.
Very good. I forgot about the synaptive. Yes, very good. And
And
also,
amazing.
Also, I was going to say, if he has digestive health issues, get him on the I-26.
That is
I-26. Get him on the I-26. Have him eliminate foods that cause bloating or gas or diarrhea or constipation. And then Bronie said eggs, and eggs are very good. Also lecithin granules. Lecithin granules. You have to buy that at a health food store. Lecithin granules.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Lecithin. Lecithin.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with the accent, I sometimes struggle with what you say.
All right.
And then you spell it, and I think, okay, I know.
Good.
Is that helpful to you, girls?
Fantastic.
Yes, thank you. My secretary is writing this all down for me.
Okay.
I just love her name. Don't you just love her name?
Hero.
She's my hero. I just got a hero. All right. Does anyone else have a question in the chat? Is that all? Do we answer all your questions, Marie?
Yes, for the moment. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Good girls. Okay. So, do we have any other questions in the chat? Unmute. Karen usually has questions in her room. You have questions in your room, Karen?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
I knew you would.
My cousin has just been diagnosed with osteoarthritis.
Okay. Okay. Osteoarthritis is a degenerative condition of the connective tissue. So it's just the body. Remember, I've said how there's 44,000 different diseases according to the Journal of the American Medical Association, but there's really just one disease. My body is falling apart disease, MBFA disease. Osteoarthritis is the same. It's just a classic, but your body's just deteriorating. Get on the healthy bone and joint pack. Throw in the ultimate selenium and the ultimate niacin. Put them on the ketogenic diet or a low sugar diet. And then making sure you're getting lots and lots of quality fatty foods like eggs and organ meats, if you can do organ meats and bone broth. Osteoarthritis is deterioration of the connective tissue, and it's basically wrinkles of the joints.
Oh, well, I have never heard it put like that before.
Yes, it's deteriorate. It's the same thing. The major way, it's osteoporosis of the joints. The way our body breaks down is generic. And it happens all over the body, but you just notice it in different places. So you're noticing it in the joints, but it's happening in the skin. It's happening in the bones. It's happening in the fascia. It's happening in the connective tissue that holds the heart in place. It happens everywhere. The connective tissue is the most important part of the body, It holds everything in place. Not only does it hold everything in place, it feeds all the cells. It detoxifies all the cells. You know, the blood is liquid connective tissue. The blood vessels are connective tissue. The lymphatic vessels are connective tissue. When we age, the most striking and dramatic and prominent part of the body or deterioration of the body occurs in the connective tissue. And so arthritis is just the body deteriorating. What we want to do is reverse that deterioration. You reverse it with nutrition and food and also exercise, moving the body. The body, the connective tissue, generates electrical charges that speed healing when it's pressed. When the connective tissue is pressed, electrical charges are generated that speed healing. So making sure you're going out and doing some kind of exercise with the body, with the joints. Now, ironically, you're not going to feel like exercising when you have osteoarthritis. That's when you definitely have to exercise, because you're going to generate electrical charges through the connective tissue that will improve growth and regeneration, especially in conjunction with the healthy bone and joint pack and the other nutrients. Also, the Fit Shake. Every time, and by the way, for Hero, every time your husband wants sugar, or every time, whoever that was asking about osteoarthritis, every time you want sugar or bread or pasta, do some TMR shake or do some Fit Shake. You guys have the TMR down there, don't you?
We do have the TMR, we have the Fit Shake, and we have the plant-based.
Whatever one you like, instead of the bread or the pasta or the ice cream or the cake or whatever it is, the sugary food, the bready food that you like, do some Fit Shake or TMR or the plant shake. And that'll be, and the TMR is delicious. It's like a dessert. You could put a little banana in there, a little frozen fruit in there, put some coconut milk or almond milk with the TMR. It's like a dessert.
Or the chocolate one, I add the super greens, and it gives me a chocolate mint.
Exactly.
Taste.
All right.
Karen, do you have more questions in your room?
Oh, yes, we do. We have one more. Yeah.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Yes. Yes.
I just want to ask about liver stones, gallbladder stones. What do you
Okay.
recommend?
All right. So listen, gallbladder is and bile in general is a fascinating subject. And I want to spend some time next week or next talk doing that, spend some time talking about that, because there's so much there. But I'll answer your question quickly, and then this should be our next topic, because I can't really be fair to you by just giving you a quick answer, but I'll just give you a general answer. Bile is the most underappreciated fluid in the body. Bile comes out of the gallbladder and goes into the intestine, and then it goes out. It goes in two directions from the intestine. From the intestine, some of it will go out of the body and will be in your stool, and that's why your stool is brown. That's the bile that's making it brown. In fact, if your stool is not brown, you've got a serious problem that needs to be checked, because that means you're not making enough bile or there's something wrong with your gallbladder. But the rest of the bile recirculates and goes back into the liver, back into the gallbladder, back into the intestine, and recirculates. As it's recirculating, it's clearing out poisons. Your bile is a detoxification fluid. And if there's a lot of poisons from food intolerance, foods that you're intolerant to, food allergens, or from drugs or some other kind of toxin, the bile will become sludgy and thick. And this will ultimately cause crystallization and stones. So gallstones should always be regarded as a sign of toxicity, usually from food. If you're on drugs, it could be from drugs. If you have a hormone problem, it could be old hormones. But the most important thing is foods. So treat gallstones as a food issue. That's number one. As far as improving the health of the bile, use your ultimate enzymes, use bile salts, use your nightly essence and your I-26 and all of your digestive support supplements. And what I would also be doing is I'd be using lecithin, which is a major component of bile. Lecithin granules are a major component of bile, and you can buy lecithin You get lecithin anywhere. And also making sure that you're getting enough fat. You're not on a fat-free diet, good quality fat, like ultimate EFA type of fat, or also fat from eggs or fat from organ meats. So making sure you're getting enough fat, eliminating problem foods, using digestive support supplements, and then getting on lecithin granules and the ultimate enzymes, which are a source of bile salts. And then I want to talk about bile. Come next week or in 2 weeks when we do our talk, I want to spend some time talking about bile because it's very, very important fluid. Very, very important and underappreciated.
The gallbladder and bile.
Gallbladder bile. We'll talk about that next time. Okay.
Did that answer that really well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions in your room, Karen?
That's what you wanted to know.
Yeah.
Anyone else got a question? Going once.
Okay.
Gone.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Don't you run away.
Everybody, wave. Thank you.
Don't run away yet. Don't run away. Next fortnight, well, we will have someone next week. Not sure who, but next fortnight when we have Ben is actually the Gold Coast event, which Tracy, whether I can get there or not at the moment with everything's been going on, I may have to not be there. But Tracy is going to have, because Ben, you're my guest that day, we will be coming live from the Gold Coast, whether I'm there in person or not. So we'll be. So Karen's room, all those people that usually go to these events. So, and Sean Brown's going to be there.
Ben, when's Ben coming back to Australia?
When's Ben coming back to Australia? Well, he's in Australia now, right?
That's exactly right. I'm in Australia now. My body will be there sooner rather than later.
Okay.
But anyway, so on Tuesday, the 11th of June, it's the Gold Coast event for those who can make it to that. And our chat here with Ben will be live streamed into that event.
Awesome.
So,
all right,
guys, you already know the topic. I'm going to have to tell Tracy now what the topic's going to be for that day. So, do we have any more questions anywhere?
No.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you,
Ben, for everything. And as I ask you all,
thanks, Ben.
Let me
see you all next
Ben.
time. Bye, everybody.
And
bye,
wow,
Bronie.
let me say, let me do this properly. As I say here in Bronie's World, I ask you all really nicely to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. When you're looking after the spiritual, the 4 dimensions of your health, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. We'll catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's World. And thank you, Ben. We look forward to the event in 2 weeks with you. And
thank you, Bronie. Thank you, everybody. Bye, Karen. Bye, Karen. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I'll let you all go. I think I stopped the recording. No, it didn't stop.